So a little bit about me. I'm 20 years old. I'm an alumni of class of 2020. I did the Ib Diploma as well as the Brazilian Diploma. I'm from here, Rio de Janeiro. And I've always had a passion for fashion. I knew I always wanted to do something related to it, but I never knew what segment specifically. So during the school time here, I entered the school in 4th grade, and I've been with Miss Ana since I was quite little. And during the IB as well, I did IB Arts high level. So when entering the IB, everyone tells you to choose your topics, choose your classes, and I wanted to do it focused on what I wanted to do after. Since I knew I wanted to work with fashion, I knew that arts was not an option to not be there. It also challenges you with your creativity and going beyond creative thinking and project organizing. So during the classes, there was a lot of stress during the IB. It was quite stressful, but something that is really cliche that everyone says is do enjoy the time that you're here, because it really goes by so fast. And it's the first time I've been here since I graduated. I didn't have a graduation. I was the first class during COVID to experience college applications and everything related to colleges in COVID. It was really hard, and most of my classmates had to figure out different plannings. Wasn't option A, wasn't option B, wasn't option C. So if it's something that you're thinking about going abroad or staying here in Rio, you really have to have your options set. And it's something that you need to talk to your family, because it doesn't depend only on you. So it's really important to do that. That would be my first advice. Have a plan B, plan C, plan D, how many plans you can have, and in different areas. I applied for only one college abroad, which was London College of Fashion, University of the Arts in London, and I actually got accepted there, and it was the only one I applied for. I also did the vestibular for PUC, because I knew that since I lived in Rio my whole life, and it was also an option, I knew I couldn't just leave that behind. So I did the vestibular for business. But first, I did it for fashion as a trial and error. So now at the moment, I'm doing business at PUC. I'm in my 3rd year, and I'm graduating in 2 years from now. So it's been a while. And I'm going to talk a little bit to you guys about the IB Diploma itself. It is really stressful. I know what you guys are going through. I've been there. And it's gonna go by, I promise. Everything's gonna work out in their own way. When my class, we were trying to figure out the mock exams, the pandemic hit, and we had to organize everything that we were gonna do back from like the first steps. So I stayed 3 months quarantined outside of Rio, which was a privilege that I had. I was in contact with nature and my family, and I was really together at that time. And that's also something that I wanted to point out, which is really important for you guys to focus on, which is mental health. It is really stressful. You guys get a lot of frustration from it. It's a period in your time where you're gonna change a lot and you're gonna grow a lot, but it's gonna work out, I promise. And something that I would also recommend outside of school activities, such as CAS and IB diplomas and things like that, is outside experiences. I could do a H Extern experience, which is a jewelry brand here in Rio, and it really opened my horizons to know that I didn't only want to do clothing or fashion, I could also do jewelry or other creative segments. So I really recommend that if you guys have any opportunities or any contacts outside the school. So talking a little bit how I started my brand, I created a clothing brand 1.5 years ago when I graduated from school. So it was 3 months lockdown, quarantine, no one could see each other, didn't have a graduation, didn't have last day of school, didn't have, the gincana, didn't have any of that, so it was really, really upsetting. My class was in a really sad mood. Everyone was really, really stressed out, trying to figure out what they were gonna do when everything was already set to plan. So I started drawing and I started going outside, getting in contact with nature, my dogs, my family, and I started drawing some clothes. I knew I wanted to do something related to it. Didn't know it was gonna expand that much. But yeah, you start slow and then you go growing out the steps along the way. So some things that I think are really important for you to have are support. It's not easy. It's really hard. It's hard for you to be young. I graduated school when I was 17 and I started it with 18. And I launched it when I was 19. So it's really, really young for you to do it, but it's possible. And I think that if you have the support that you need, being it from family, from friends, from the school, from any help that you can get, it's really important. And also you need to have like a motive for it. You can't just be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do a brand, I'm gonna go buy this fabric, buy this type of material and start sewing. No, it doesn't work like that. It's much more complex than it looks. And if you want it and you have a plan for it, you just go for it. You don't need to have the whole way traced out. But if you have like 3 steps, you can go from that and then you go taking step by step. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about the process. Creating the brand was really challenging. You need to make a lot of phone calls, you need to go out there, you need to get in contact with whoever you can get, which is basically working your network, which is really important in the career world that you guys are getting into. And you need to learn from other people's experiences. Since you don't have any experiences of your own, you're gonna learn based on trial and error from other people. And that's really, really important. So I had a team of people that helped me, but it started off by calling friends from my parents, friends from friends, asking how they started there, the people that work for them, the fabrics, everything. You need to understand before you get your hands on it. Okay, so the process, it starts off a little bit by deciding what you're going to do, what each collection is going to be, what your identity for the brand is going to be, what type of clothes or products you're deciding to make. So I put a little bit of some pictures here. You decide the outfits, then you start drawing them, you start getting references, color schemes, start meeting with other people to see what they can offer you for their products. And then you start doing, you start buying the fabrics, you start trying them out, seeing how they fit, if they're good, if they're not. It's a lot of work, you don't stop. Everything you see on Instagram, on Pinterest, on Facebook, everything becomes inspiration. And what I talked before about outside experiences and school experiences is really important because that builds a little foundation for how you can creatively think. So yeah, here I have some visits to the factory that I make. You make a lot of those. It's really exhausting, but it's really, really fun. And at the end of the day, you look at what you're doing and you're exhausted with your hands, really hurts from sewing and getting materials and everything, but you're proud of it. You're like, okay, this is something I like. And this is something that a lot of people say, do what you love, do what you think is gonna be good for you. I don't believe 100% in that. I think you need to do something that you like, but also something that you're good at. Something that you're good at, you're gonna start enjoying it and you're gonna start liking it, and eventually it's gonna grow on you. So if you find something that you have a little bit of passion for, try experiencing that and going for it, and it's gonna work out. And if not, there are other many options. So yeah, and also something else. I designed the clothes, I took the clothes, I do the creative thinking, but there's also a whole business behind it, which is why I decided to do business here in Rio. It's much more complex than just designing the pieces, asking the sewers to do them. You have to decide the price point, markup plan, you have to do a lot of things related to economics, so if you guys can get any economics topics in IB or business, I would totally recommend that, because I think it's a base for whenever you want to go in the industry, in any industry you want. So this is the first pattern I drew. It was inspired on the palmeiras in Jardim Botânico, also during the quarantine. Since we couldn't go outside that much, I needed to do some exercise, and I went to Jardim Botânico, which is open and in contact with nature, which really inspires me. And that's where the first pattern came from. It didn't work out like this from the start. It was a long, long process of drawing and trying out and measuring and seeing what fits best, and also the color scheme. So you need to have an eye for that. Here are some of the beginning stages. The first outfits that I tried, the tag. Gente. Enfim. I can't. Okay, so here's a little bit of the first collection. With 2.5 months of the brand, I ended up being on Vogue Brazil Instagram, which was a really exciting moment for me. And also after that, I started to do events, which is not easy. You stay there for 9 hours straight. You don't eat a lot, you don't drink a lot for the whole weekend, but it's necessary. So hard work pays off, but you need to do the hard work or else it won't pay off. It's hard, but everything is achievable. So here are some of the pictures of the first shoot. There is the first event that I did, and yeah. These are the 3 catalogs for the collections. I did the first one in August 2021. Then the second one, which I did also male clothing, which was a lot of a challenge, was in the end of last year, in December. And now I'm in the process of creating another one for the end of this year. So here are some of the patterns I also drew. So you can see that there's a lot of drawing and trying and error. The first one there of the stingrays was the first sketch I did of the last one, which ended up being the pattern for this other collection. And these 2 of the crabs, I was in between the stingrays or the crabs, but then I decided to do the stingrays. And my dad is an architect, so I always had that creative inspiration in my house. And he decided to use it to make some interior design products. And that's on the way right now. So it's a lot of process, but I think you need to find your way in the industry. There's a lot of people that say, oh, you need to go this way, you need to go that way. No, it's the way you decide to go, with basis on the other experiences that you can get. So you can see that in the drawings I always have some sort of geometrical references, something that I found to be my style of drawing the patterns. And yeah, so here are some pictures of the second collection. You need to do a photo shoot. So the process is you decide the collection, you draw it, you choose the materials, you meet up with people, you spend, 2 or 3 months developing the collection. Then you send it to production. During the production time, there's a lot of going back and forward with the outfits. You need to get it back, see if the sewing is right, see if everything fits. If not, you send it back, you do it once again until it gets perfect for you to sell. Then after the production, you receive it, you do the whole stock countage. It's a lot of things, but I'm trying to resume a little bit because I know we don't have a lot of time. And then after that, you put it out. You do the photo shoots, you do the collection, and you do the marketing part. So it's a lot more complex than just designing the outfits, sending to the sewers, and doing it. It's a whole chain of work. And not only that, you're providing work for other people as well, which during the pandemic was essential. Some people lost their definite works, and this also supports and helps them. And it's something that I also wanted to point out that I forgot in the beginning. I think nowadays, you guys, almost every one of you have heard the word sustainable. It's really important. And that's something I value a lot. All of my materials are from natural fibers. The first one I did was biodegradable silk. So I think that if you try to innovate on what you can do, being aligned with what the world is going on right now, it's also really important, because when people go look to hire you guys, you're going to think, okay, what are you thinking ahead? Because if you're thinking like everybody else and if you're thinking behind, you're not going to be chosen for the job. So you need to be thinking ahead of them on what they want, not what they can do already. So I think that's a differential thing that you guys can really study and look forward to. And this is the other pattern that I did, which ended up being for my dad's work. So you can see that it travels a lot, from architectural to design to fashion to aesthetic to going to museums and getting experiences. It's all related to the creativeness that you guys get, which I also said it's really important for you to guys be stimulating, even if you don't want to work with fashion, if you don't want to work with anything related to art. For you to be creative, it doesn't mean that you're gonna get a paper and a glue and you're gonna start cutting things and creating things. You have creative thinking. You're gonna create above what you have. So I think that would be really important for you guys to have as an advice graduating. You guys are seniors, right? Or these are seniors? These are seniors. So quite little, but okay. I think that's it, guys. It's hard, but you can do it.
Right, so I have a question. Louisa, where do you see yourself in like 5 or 10 years? Do you plan on going abroad to study fashion? Do you plan on branching out to other like aspects or like try other career paths? Like what's your plan so far?
Yeah, sure. Okay, I passed to London College of Fashion to do strategic fashion management, so I knew I always wanted that business part. But since that was impossible during the pandemic, I had to change it. And I'm now doing business, so I plan on graduating on PUC with business, because I think it's a basis. I think if you guys are in doubt of anything, do business. It's really good diploma to have. And you can do also things apart from it. I'm doing fashion aside from college. I don't have anything related to that. But I think that I want to go abroad. I just don't know when, because I know where this will take me. You need to plan your steps, but you can't take a step longer than what you're able of taking. So I hope that answers.
I have a question. Like, what brands inspired you, like specifically when you were growing up, like when you were looking online and stuff like that?
I think a lot of them, obviously, if you love fashion, you watch all the fashion weeks. So Valentino, Dior, all of those, Missoni, which are high-end luxury brands. But also, you need to look at lower price points, brands that are local. There were a lot of local brands here in Rio that I didn't know, in São Paulo, in Brazil, that I didn't know of, and that researching and looking through, I found out. And I think it's not like what brands inspire you, but what you're comfortable wearing. So if I find a t-shirt from Zara that I love the fit, I'm gonna be inspired by that. But if I love the pattern on Cris Barros, for example, I'm gonna be inspired by that. So I think it's the little pieces that you get from each brand, being them high or low, which I think needs to have a balance. But I think it's more of like what you like to wear. Everyone here has a different style, so it's basically quite personal, I think.
So, Luisa, can you explain how you sell? Do you have a store? Or how is the selling part of your business?
I do it only online, and also at pop-up events. So I've done already, I think, 12 events. It was 3 Carundais, which is a multi-brand. They have a store in Shopping Leblon with a lot of brands, and they sell there. Most of my selling is online. I send people my clothes in a little cute package home, so they can try it out at home, and also doing events. If I have a store right now, it's a lot of fixed points, custo fixo. Cost. So it's a little bit expensive to do right now, and I think everyone that, if you're thinking of creating a brand, I'm gonna get so much money, no. In the beginning you don't get nothing, it's just reinvestment, because in the future you're gonna get back on it. So you need to be thinking that what you're planting right now is where you're going to grow in the future, not where you're going to grow now. I'm 20. I don't have any taxes to pay. Thankfully, my parents do that for me, and I think you guys as well, and I think for a long time. If not, great. But you don't need to rush into it. If you rush into it, you're going to miss certain steps. So you can't go into the workplace or getting a new job thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna get so much money. It doesn't work like that. Everyone starts slow and goes growing big, but it's what I said before. If you don't hard work, it won't pay off. So you need to work your ass off. Any other questions?
Hi, do you have any sponsors or ads?
No. The main investment, I got the money from my dad, and then I started off by that, and you start reinvesting and paying it off. So no, I don't have any sponsors, but you can do collaborations with other brands. So you can see, there's a brand of jewelry that I really love, which is my friend's. We did an event together. So she brought her jewelry, I brought my clothing, and we sold it together. So you kind of help each other out, but no sponsors.
Hi. So, can you talk a little more about your Agaishte experience?
Yes. Okay. I spent 2 days at Agaishte with a group of girls, and it was an experience where we got to know the inside of the brand and have a little look at what it is to have a day at work. Not only that, but have a look at how the jewelry is made, the process from it, and get to know a little bit about the brand. Even if it was a little hands-on because we did some projects at the store, but it wasn't really like working. I was young also, I was I think 16, 17. So it wasn't a lot of hands-on, but it was good so you can have like a knowledge and you can see what's inside a brand. And that's also something that my past experiences helped me. Sometime when I was, 16, 17, 18, I did some photo shoots for some brands, and that gave me